It's a great question.
Oh my God.
And always remember, spoiler alert. Welcome back to Same But Different, the movie talk show that nobody asked for, but we're doing it anyway. We are joined today and every day by Brody.
Hello.
Sorry, I said your name for you. I just thought I'd
That's okay.
fast track this.
Takes away like 50% of my responsibility this week.
This week is a special week to us in particular because we're kicking off July A, which is a themed month for Canadian filmmaking. How do you feel about that?
I feel super excited about it. I just feel like there's a lot of content, and unless it's the big stuff, unless it makes the main headlines, there's a lot of content that Canada puts out over the last however many decades that's just doesn't get the traction, the spotlight. So I'm excited. We've tried to do a little deeper dive into some of them, and I'm hoping we get some good movies. I do think it's gotten a lot better. I've seen the joke about Canadian content kind of just die out in my lifetime alone. So I do think it's gotten better.
This week's movie was called All My Puny Sorrows, starring Allison and Sarah Gadon. We're here to review it. Brody, would you like to start us off with your review?
Sure. I woke up 10 minutes ago, so you're going to have to excuse my groggy voice. But here we go. I thought this movie was a really good try. Just about there, guys. So close. It had wonderful acting. Allison, in my opinion, stole the movie. So good. So good. And it had a premise that was obviously very, very important, very, very interesting. Never felt boring, despite being a long, drawn-out, slow burn, dramatic movie. I felt like every scene that was included was important and necessary, which was good, that I never felt bored. It had all of the bones for a great indie movie, and it just didn't through the threshold, you know?
Brody's standard for a good movie is...
You just had to, Iron Giant up there. I do think it'd be a really, really good movie for anybody who doesn't understand depression to watch. I think it did a very good job showcasing what that's like in a family. Everybody has a different go of it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this girl was super famous in her field and a concert pianist and had a big, huge house with lots of money and a happy, well, quote-unquote happy marriage. You would never know.
You would never know. And that's the thing. You don't have to be apparently sad. That might not be the word either, but...
Obviously.
You don't have to be obviously sad to be depressed. They're very different. They're completely different things. I don't even think depressed is an emotion, right? Like, it's not.
She said in the film, I have a terminal illness. And that's what it is. It can be.
Yes.
Robin Williams, perfect example.
There you go. Feeling depressed and being depressed are very different. That's an important thing that a lot of people don't understand, but might after watching this movie. On the other side of things, it was so tragic, almost to a fault. You know, like your Blue Valentines and your Revolutionary Roads and your Marriage Stories. Those are all romance movies, so it's hard to throw this in the same category, but this one did have some inklings of humor thrown in, and it worked really, really well in such a heavy movie. That much tragedy and sadness all the time is just not how you want to feel coming out of a movie.
How do you make a movie accurately represent depression without just being that? Then you get into the realm of, should you even make a movie like this if you're just going to be depressed the whole time? You know what I mean?
100%, I know what you mean, and I agree. For me, it was just a little too much. I'm not saying that this kind of movie shouldn't exist, but I guess I just want mine clouded in a little more either satire or metaphors or something. Obviously, this content is very important. To me, this isn't the way to tell it, though. I also feel like it couldn't really decide on a focal point. Obviously, their relationship was the point, but between sibling love and depression being genetic and Mennonite culture, it just felt like it couldn't decide what story it wanted to tell, and it was trying to tackle all of them.
The Mennonite thing didn't come in till like more than halfway through the movie, and I was like, oh, okay.
I couldn't tell what it wanted to tell us. I also found some of the familial drama to just be a little bit cliche, but again, it almost has to be to tell a story like this. But I just like the mom blaming herself and Allison Pill being like, oh, well, I have it pretty hard too, to her suicidal sister who's laying in bed. Like, come on. that was ridiculous. And lastly, I love a good flashback as much as the next person, but I do think that the flashbacks didn't add too much to the narrative in this movie. I don't want to say they were pointless because it is a nice tactic and it was interesting to watch. But like, we know they were sisters as kids. That's how it works. Like, there's not even a scene between Sarah Gadon's character and the mom, as far as I can remember in the flashback. And I feel like that's pretty darn important if we're going back in time.
There's not even a scene between Sarah Gadon and the mom in present time.
Yeah, you're right. That makes sense for the story, for what we're going through. But back then, we should have seen a little bit of it, I think. Overall, I go back to my thesis. This movie was a really, really good try. I feel like technically they were on the right path. They did a lot of it right, and there are, like I said, so many great bones to this movie, but it just didn't work fully. I gave it a 5 out of 10.
Middle of the road.
Middle of the road. It was a well-made movie. I just don't think it was a good movie.
Awesome review. Great points. A lot of them I kind of agree with, but mostly disagree with.
Oh,
and this is going to be a nice little same but different episode. So, to start off with the good, the acting, incredible. I think across the board, to be honest. Donald Logue.
Oh, Donald Logue.
I think he phoned it in a little bit for the few times he was on screen. His delivery of his dialogue was a little forced, it sounded. But apart from that, everyone did a fantastic job, including Allison Pill. Definitely the standout actress in this movie. Sarah Gadon coming up close second. Their chemistry between each other was so good. Further, Allison Pill's chemistry between everybody on screen was incredible. She knows what she's doing and she's incredibly underrated. This proves that she's an underrated actress because it was incredible. She blew me out of the water.
That's so wonderful to hear. I agree.
The micro expressions too. There were so many close-ups in this movie of her just processing what people have said. Her just the micro acting in her eyes and the twitches in her lips. Oh, it was incredible. It was lovely to watch.
I agree wholly with that.
The score I thought was really cool. It reminded me of Up. It just hit all the right notes at all the right times. I think it came in appropriately with the right tone for what was going on in the scene, and it really helped elevate the emotion of every scene. And you touched upon it briefly, the humor. I thought the humor was very well dispersed throughout this film. I thought it was perfectly placed and perfectly timed for what was happening and who was saying the witty line. A lot of it went to Allison Pill. This is just a family thing. They're all very intelligent, very smart people, very well read. The humor came in at parts that were, heavy. It never took away from the gravity of the situation, which I thought was such a unique thing to see. Allison Pill, specifically, her method of humor was a defense mechanism to what was going on, and that's why it worked so well. I agree with you on the point that there were several different focuses, and I wish they focused a little bit on specifically the relationship between the two sisters, and then secondly, how this might be a genetic thing because the father killed himself. That would have made for a solid film. My second point, as far as the negative side of things go, I don't know what it was, and I can't even tell you why, but as soon as Sarah Gadon's character killed herself, the movie lost drive. I don't know why. What am I trying to say here? It lost the oomph. It lost it in the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the movie where, Sarah Gadon's character was coming in as figments of her imagination or something like that. I was disinterested towards the end.
The reason it didn't work is because her coming back like that broke the reality of how heavy this movie should have been.
Yeah, it kind of lightened the mood by being sort of fantastical.
It didn't feel like the move, but the story died with her, and it kind of just floundered to wrap up after that.
I think it's because the relationship between the two sisters was over.
Yeah.
And that was the most compelling part of the story.
100%.
Overall, though, I really, really enjoyed this movie.
Oh, wow.
By the end of it, Victoria gave it a 9 out of 10. She loved it. And I didn't love it as much as her. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
Holy moly, that's awesome. Wow, I feel like a big grumpy cynic now.
Honestly, if everything else fell flat and the acting remained the way it was, I think I'd still give it an 8 out of 10. I was so enthralled by the acting in this movie.
See, I don't like to feel things, so I brought it down a bit. I mean, it's a heavy topic, and I don't need to go down that rabbit hole so strongly. My best example, and I've talked about it on the show before, is like My Love for Wrist Cutters, a love story. I think that movie encapsulates depression in a much more enticing way for me and how I want to interpret it.
To me, sometimes you need those movies to just remind you that reality can be super fucked up and depressing. But then, yeah, there are movies out there that give it a little, I don't want to say sugarcoat.
Don't need a movie to remind me how fucked up life is. Is what life does that, you know?
I go to movies to escape that shit.
Exactly. Now you get it.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. We're going into our top 5 of the week. Brody came up with the subject this week. It's going to be top 5 sister movies. And that just means sisters that are in movies where either the primary focus or at least a lot of the focus is on the relationship between the sisters. Would you like to kick off the top 5 this week?
Oh my goodness, I'd be honored. My top 5 movies with sisters in them. Number 5, Sunshine Cleaning. Do you remember that movie? Did you ever watch it?
Nope.
You never watched it?
No idea what you're talking about.
Amy Adams, Emily Blunt, Alan Arkin, Steve Zahn. It's a huge, crazy cast. It's a dark comedy. Number 4, I know for a fact this didn't make your list. A Streetcar Named Desire.
I've never seen it.
No, because why would you? Because only theater kids have seen this movie. There's nothing wrong with not have seen it. It's not even that good of a movie. I know. God. Number 3. I also know for a fact this won't be on your list.
Oh, man. Okay.
I put this on my list pretty much just to burn Hocus Pocus, and it's Practical Magic. Number 3, Practical Magic.
I've never seen it. You've seen that movie?
Yeah, it's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. Number 2, Greta Gerwig's Little Women.
Haven't seen it.
Which I know. When you were like, we're going to have a lot of the same ones on our list. I'm looking at my list and I'm like, no, we're not.
What is happening?
I didn't know how to go about this because this one's my favorite movie on this list, but it's certainly not the best sister story on my list, so I didn't really know how to go about this. But I put it at number 1 anyway because it's new, and I just lied. Number 1, Evil Dead Rise.
Oh, wow.
Easy. It's better than all those movies.
Are you riding off the high because you just saw it recently, or?
I don't think so. It's not been that recent. We saw it a while ago at this point.
I mean, aside from that, what a hipster.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
What
wow.
a
Yep.
hipster.
Yep, you're right. Yeah, 100%. Even my honorable mention, I think, is pretty hipster. What happened to Monday?
Oh, the Rumi Rapace one.
Yeah, Noomi Rapace, Willem Dafoe. It's the world where you're only allowed one child because of overpopulation.
My top 5 movies with sisters in them. Starting off at number 5, we have the movie My Sister's Keeper.
Oh, God,
I haven't seen this
more
movie.
Depression.
I know, it's sad. I haven't seen this movie since I was in my teens, but I remember it just like hitting me real hard. And any movie that can have an emotional effect on me like that gets put on a list for sure. Number 4, surprised myself with this, Frozen.
Okay.
Elsa and Anna, their relationship was and the story arc was based on sisterhood. It was great. Number 3, and this isn't primarily focused on the sisters, but there is a storyline in the movie that focuses on sisters. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, between Gamora and
Neb.
Over the course of the 3 movies and then all the other ones they've appeared in, I think their sister arc is a wonderful one. Number 2, Evil Dead Rise.
Hey, big ups for Evil Dead.
I don't care what you thought about that movie. The sister complex happening in that movie is very good. I loved it very much. Number 1, this relationship is split across 2 movies.
Yeah, I definitely know what it is.
Scream 2022 and Scream 6.
Kind of cheating though, isn't it? Which one's better? Which one would take your number 1?
2022.
I agree. Evil Dead Rise I like more than the sister relationship in Scream. Does that make sense?
Right.
I was a battle in my head, really.
I get it. Honestly, I'm thinking about it now. I could swap those 2 for first place and second place all day.
All day.
All day. It sounded like Gandalf.
You definitely took a different route with it.
Those were our top 5 movies with sisters in them. Let us know your top 5 in the comments below. We'd love to see them, and we just love reading those comments, guys. Keep them coming. Let's move on, because next week we need to watch another movie, and the only way we can do that is if we choose a movie from
The Hunt of Destiny. Let's see what the chapeau has in store for us today. Here we go. Tusk.
Tusk. Yes.
Tusk.
Yes. I really want to see this movie. I'm excited.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Kevin Smith, when he finally veered off comedies and started doing other stuff, makes some very interesting movies. Hard to say they're all good, but they're all very interesting. Love Red State. Looking at bad reviews for this one online has honestly only made me want to see it more, because Red State didn't get very good reviews either, and it's so damn good.
If you like body horror movies, I'm hearing this is going to be the film to watch. It's got a nice cult following behind it, and apparently it's a little bit disturbing, so be prepared.
And it's Justin Long.
Next week, watch Tusk. We're going to come back here and review it on Monday. If you like movies, if you like reviews, if you like giving your opinion on things, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and we'll definitely be giving you more content like this because we love doing it.
Yeah.
I can't see it. I wish I could.
I lost a Tusk.
I'm trying my best here.
It's hard. What if I did? Oh, those are too big.
Okay. Let's get out of here. Everybody else, have fun doing whatever you're doing. We love you. This has been Same But Different.
Bye, everybody. Love you so much. Bye.
All day.